get started. Okay. So today's Chumash, we are holding in middle of Chumash Bamidbar, Parshas Bamidbar, the first section. And as we discussed, the flow here is that we want to count the Jewish people. I gave a class last night on why they needed Moshe Rabbeinu to count the Jewish people. But Moses and Aaron and the leaders of the tribes went and they made a tally. And yet that was Sunday's Chumash. And then the next day, Monday, we learned about, on Monday's Chumash, we learned about that each of the three tribes were positioned on the four different sides around the tabernacle, around the Mishkan. So three groups to the north, west, south, east, and west. And then we learned in yesterday's Chumash how they traveled in the desert. So continuing to figure out the system, I guess they had a very organized system. We're going to go now on to the Levites. So we spoke about the 12 tribes, and now we're going to learn about the Levites. And we're going to learn very interesting today that the Levites were swapped out for the firstborns because the firstborn sinned in the golden calf, and the Levites are going to swap out with them and take their place, and their job is going to be security, actually, to manage the security in the Mishkan and the tabernacle, as well as to assist with the moving and assist the Kohanim and whatever the Kohanim need. So let's see inside, chapter 3. Be'ela told us Aaron and Moshe, and these are the children of Aaron Moshe, of Aaron and Moshe. These are their children. These are going to tell you now who are Moshe and Aaron's children. Now Rashi asks the question, are you really going to tell us who Moshe and Aaron's children are? You're going to tell us who Aaron's children are. You're going to tell us about the Kohanim right now. So you're not going to mention Moses' children. You're going to first mention Aaron's children. And not Moses' children at all. So why are you saying these are the children of Moshe and Aaron? And Rashi teaches us something very important. There's a lesson to be learned here. Although they are physically Aaron's children, since Moses taught them Torah, right? Moses got the Torah on Mount Sinai, and Moses taught the Torah to the Jewish people. Moses got the Jewish children on Mount Sinai, and Moses got the Torah on Mount Sinai and taught it to Aaron's children, so they're considered like they are Moses' children. And what we learned from that whoever teaches their friend's son Torah, it's as if they gave birth to them. So you teach another Jew Torah, you teach them the Torah that God gave Moses on Mount Sinai, and you become their teacher, it's actually considered that you kind of adopted them. They become your children because you've inspired them and you have taught them Torah. So that's what we learn from the fact that it says they're Moses' children too, even though it's not going to talk about Moses' children, it's going to talk about Aaron's children, because they really are Moses' children. They're kind of his adopted kids because he inspired them and taught them Torah. Yoim Diber Hashem as Moshe B'Har Sinai, on the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai. Yoim Diber Hashem as Moshe B'Har Sinai, on the day that Moses taught them the Torah. Basically, what does it mean? Because Moses became their teacher by Mount Sinai, because Moses got the Torah on Mount Sinai. So because of that, because Moses got the Torah on Mount Sinai, that's the day he became the teacher, because then he started teaching them Torah. Okay, continuing right along. Sorry, I was getting a few texts here while I was teaching that. So now we're going to get back up to pace. Be'ela Shmais b'nei Aaron. Here are the names of his sons, of Aaron's sons. Habachar, the firstborn. Nadav was the oldest one, was Nadav, and then he had another son, number 2, Avihu, third son, Elazar, and a fourth son, Isamar. At least these are his four oldest sons. Elu Shmais b'nei Aaron HaKoyanim, and these are the names of Aaron's sons. Verse 3, HaMeshuchim Asher Miliyadin L'chayin, that were anointed, and their hands, they got designated, meaning they were filled a role in the position in order to serve as Kohanim. So these are the names of Aaron's children who were going to serve and be designated in order in Aaron's lifetime to serve as Kohanim. They were appointed together to work with their father, to assist their father in being a Kohen. Verse 4, and unfortunately we know the tragedy that happened to the family. Verse 4, Vayamas Nadav and Avihu, 2 of the 4 sons passed away, L'fnei Hashem, before God, right? They were in the tabernacle. The Kravasam Eish Zara L'fnei Hashem, by bringing a foreign fire, they went and they did stuff they weren't supposed to do. They made Bar Sinai in the Sinai desert, and they never had children. So these 2 sons died without leaving any children. And instead, the other two remaining of the four sons, whose names were Elazar and Itamar, served while the father was alive. So the sons assisted their father and worked together with their father as being a Kohen in his lifetime together with him in the Mishkan. And that is the end of the Kohanic situation. So we have all the Jewish people we counted, and then we have a very small, short list of the Kohanim. But what about the rest of the tribe? What about the rest of the tribe of Levi? So here we're going to learn about that today now. Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Levi. God told Moses, bring forth, give them a special role, the tribe of Levi, everybody else besides the Kohanim, the rest of the tribe of Levi. Set them up, the rest of the tribe of Levites, before Aaron the high priest, and the Levites should serve Aaron. So Rashi says, well, what kind of service are you expecting the Levites to serve Aaron, right? The Kohanim. So we have Yehuda in our class as a Kohen, and then we have Evan. I don't know where he is right now, but then we have Evan who's a Levi. The Levis are supposed to serve the Kohanim. So Rashi says, well, what is it? And Rashi says, we'll see in the next verse, they are security. They're in charge of the security detail. That no person who's not, it's a very dangerous place to go if you don't belong, right? It's capital punishment, it's sent to death by the hands of heaven, whatever. It's a very serious punishment. The Levites have a very important role and very important job to be the security detail that nobody who's allowed to go in is no one who's not allowed to go in should go in. And the Kohanim were the ones who really originally had that commandment, and that no one else who's not supposed to be there shouldn't be there. And I'm giving you the Levites to assist you in this security detail and so on, to make sure I'm giving you the Levites to now help you make sure that this is done what's supposed to be done. Okay, so that's why the Levites now need to help the Kohanim. Verse 7, they should take charge. They should get in their position, as Rashi says. You know, when somebody has a duty, a responsibility, give them the responsibility, give them the duty, make it their responsibility and their duty to make sure that everything is done that's supposed to be done. And it's their full responsibility for them to take care of it. Now, it's going on to the Levites. Now, it's also responsibility of the Jewish people that they're not allowed to go in there. But, as we're going to see, the Levites are we're going to see in the end of this Chumash, are helping the Jews fulfill their responsibility. We'll see about that soon. Not just so they should be the security detail, they should also take charge and responsibility for all the vessels in the temple. So they're not just to stand outside the Mishkan and make sure there's security. They're there in charge of management, overseeing the whole thing. And all the Jews' responsibility. So now we're actually saying all the Jews need the temple. Whose temple is it? It belongs to everyone. It doesn't just belong to the Levites or the Kohanim. And really every Jew is responsible to make sure that the upkeep and the dedication of the Mishkan is taken care of. And because of that, the Levites are actually helping out the rest of the Jewish people and them filling out their responsibility. And therefore, the deal was made, and Hashem decided this is what should be done, is that the Levites should represent the rest of the Jewish people in overseeing the management and everything that needs to be taken care of the Mishkan. And what's going to happen is the Levites will get 10%. And that's why the Levites are going to be given 10% of their income, because now the Levites are not allowed to work anymore. The Levites now have to replace the Jews and oversee all the management that needs to be done in the tabernacle. And therefore, 10% of everybody's growth in their fields, whatever, so on, that will need to go to the Levites, because they are filling in, they're stepping in the shoes and taking responsibility for the rest of the Jewish people. Verse 9, and you should give these Levites to Aaron and to his sons. They're given for assistance to help out from the rest of the Jewish people. And that's what Hashem decided. Hashem decided that the Levites would be the ones to step up to the job and fill in, as Rashi says it, for the rest of the Jewish people. Verse 10, and Aaron and his sons are appointed, take responsibility, that no one who's not allowed to come into the tabernacle comes. And whoever comes, it's the Zarakar of Yumas, that they'll die. It's a punishment of death for a person that comes in is not allowed to be there. What is the Kohen's job, let's say? I guess the Levites are more security and management. What is the Kohen's job? Their job is they have to take the blood after they slaughter the animal. They have to make sure that it goes into the right cup. and then they take that blood and they sprinkle it on the altar, and then they burn the fats and whatever. They have to know exactly what fats and burn the correct fats from the animal on the altar. Those are the jobs of the Kohanim. So I guess Levites is management and security, and the Kohanim also has a responsibility of security. And really all the Jews have responsibility of upkeep of the temple, but the Levites and the Kohen are going to take on these responsibilities. And then Hashem says, very interesting to Moshe, why am I now choosing the Levites? Because it really was supposed to be a different system once upon a time. It wasn't supposed to be a tribe was supposed to take over and do the job. No, you know what? It was supposed to be one person from every family, the firstborn, or every firstborn, any family that had a firstborn son. They were supposed to sanctify him, put him into the service, like exactly in the army, give one child per service. The oldest son would go to the service. That actually it wasn't supposed to be the Levi tribe to do that job. So here's what Hashem says. What changed? Now I've taken the Levites, from the Jewish people, tachas, to replace, instead of kol b'char, all the firstborns, petarechem, who opened the womb. That's when B'nai Yisrael, v'hoy li and the Levites will be mine. So originally it wasn't supposed to be the Levites even. That wasn't the part of the plan. It was supposed to be every family that had a firstborn son, give their firstborn son to God, right? Just like we have like a sheep, the firstborn sheep goes to God, and so on. Every firstborn son was supposed to then, each family had to volunteer, put somebody up into the job and take over. That was the original idea, but it was swapped out. And Rashi says, why? Because it was supposed to be for the firstborns, but then everybody sinned besides the Levites, and they're not fit for the job anymore. People who sin with the golden calf are going to go and become now part of the service of taking care of the Mishkan. So therefore, keep the firstborns. Instead, I'm getting the Levites. And how did I get the firstborns? Whoever made it that the firstborns belong to me, where did that start? So now you're swapping out the Levites for the firstborns. The Torah goes on to say, well, why was I supposed to get the firstborns? Oh, that's in verse 13. Because all the firstborns belong to me. The day that I smit all the firstborns in Egypt, the Egyptian ones, Hikdashti li, and I saved, I saved the Jewish firstborns. Hikdashti li, I made holy, Kol B'char B'Yisrael, all the firstborns of Israel. Automatically, I killed all the Egyptian firstborns. I saved the Jewish ones. They right away became designated to me. Adam at Behema, whether it be a firstborn of a person or a firstborn of an animal. Li ani Hashem, they should be to me, I'm Hashem. And then, because the golden calf, it switched. I switched out the Levites for the firstborns of the rest of the Jewish people. And my friends, that is the end today of today's Chumash. Any questions or comments on today's Chumash? So yeah, we basically learned today that we finished counting. On Sunday, we learned about the total of the Jewish people. On Monday, we learned about the groups, the battalions, the 4 battalions on the 4 sides of the temple and where they were situated. And today we learn about the Kohen and the Levites, who were not counted among the rest of the Jewish people, that they have a special service, that they're serving Hashem. And the Levites got the job. The Kohen family is very short. It's basically Aaron and his 4 sons. And then 2 of the 4 sons died, and they died without children even. And then we learned about then we learned about the Levites and how they got the position that they have. And we'll continue learning about that in the next few days. Any questions or comments, or we'll move on to Tanya? Okay, that's it for today's Chumash. Okay.